Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome. I am Zohra Khatun from NTB and I'll be host for today's event. Today we have gathered on National Resilience Day to honor the enduring spirit of our people who have faced some of the most challenging natural and human-induced disasters. This remarkable day is a reminder of our resilience as a nation and a testament to our growing strength in the face of adversity. From earthquake and floods to the ongoing challenges posed by climate change, Pakistan has shown remarkable resolve. Dear audience, this day is devoted not just as remembering past hardships, but to recognize our collective efforts in strengthening our disaster management systems, enhancing preparedness, and building a resilient future for our generations to come. It is a call of action for all of us to continue working towards a stronger, safer, and more resilient Pakistan. With this state of mind, NTMA has committed to engage the National Resilience Dialogue. Dear audience, the theme for the day is Financial Resilience of Pakistan, with a special emphasis that we remain committed and united as one nation. As you can see on the left and right side of the screens, our agenda for the day is flashed. We have two sessions. The first session will start from 10:05 to 10:45, and the second session will continue towards 12. Next, please. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Idris Masood, Member DRR, NDMA, followed by Ms. Sananu, Deputy DM and ITM, and Nurul Hassan, ED-PCC NDMA, to deliver the speeches from President of Pakistan, Prime Minister of Pakistan, and Chief of Army Staff. Sir, please.
Excuse me. Right there. He's this one. Stay.
I have the honor to read out the message of His Excellency Asif Ali Zardari, President of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, on the occasion of National Resilience Day, 8th of October 2024. And I quote, "Today we are observing National Resilience Day, which reminds us of the devastating earthquake of October 8, 2005, that claimed thousands of lives. The destruction it brought to our cities and villages remains etched in our memory. However, amid this catastrophe, our nation displayed an unparalleled spirit of resilience and unity and generously helped the affected people. Today, I also wish to extend my deepest gratitude to the international community, friendly countries, civil society, welfare and charity organizations that extended their invaluable support in the aftermath of this earthquake. Their support and solidarity not only helped us rebuild our roads, education, health, and other infrastructure, but also gave hope to the affected people, enabling them to rebuild their lives. In recent years, the looming threat of climate change has made Pakistan more vulnerable to natural disasters. Rising temperatures, unpredictable weather patterns, and extreme weather events such as floods, droughts, heat waves, landslides pose a potential threat to the infrastructure and lives of our people. As the frequency and intensity of climate-related calamities has increased in Pakistan, it has become essential to invest in the capacity building of our national and provincial disaster management authorities, and enhance their disaster preparedness. We need to equip our relevant institutions with the latest technologies, expertise, and resources to effectively respond to emerging challenges. Improving early warning systems, enhancing coordination among national and provincial authorities, and adopting modern disaster mitigation strategies should be our key priorities to timely respond to threats. Additionally, we must focus on constructing climate-resilient infrastructure to mitigate the impacts of climate change. We also need to educate our people about disaster risk management and mitigation and actively engage our communities to promote a culture of disaster preparedness. This National Resilience Day reminds us that Pakistani nation has displayed extraordinary resilience in the face of challenges and has always emerged stronger. I am sure that if we continue to work with the spirit of unity and resilience, we can overcome the challenges facing our country. And I unquote.
Message from Prime Minister of Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Mr. Muhammad Shehbaz Sharif, and I quote, "The 8th of October reminds us of the devastating earthquake of 2005, a great tragedy that befell upon Pakistan and Azad Jammu and Kashmir. Our heartfelt prayers to all those who lost lives and properties. After the devastating earthquake of 2005, the floods of 2022 were a mega disaster surpassing all past records. The people and institutions of Pakistan have always shown immense resolve and demonstrated ability to resurface amidst catastrophes and national crises induced by climate change and environmental hazards. Pakistan is facing an immense impact of climate change despite not being responsible for it. Frequent recurrence of unpredictable extreme events having given devastating blow to our struggling economy. I commend the National Disaster Management Authority for its hard work to have evolved a tested mechanism as a national response towards such natural calamities. Key components of our national response include proactively working at reducing vulnerability to disaster and providing coping mechanisms and frameworks for effective disaster management. It is quite satisfying that NDMA's National Emergencies Operations Center has the best capacities in management of national disasters. NEOC is on high-end technology inputs to create early warnings for disasters much ahead of time, saving lives and infrastructure. I urge all stakeholders to seek synergy through greater and refined understanding of each other's strengths and capacity limitations, achieving maximized interoperability among local, zonal, national, global, public, and private sectors through a whole-of-society approach. Efficient and effective coordination, development of contingency plans, and risk communication to farthest community is critical for national resilience. National Resilience Day is a motivation for us to embrace the best practices and implement policies and strategies aimed at fortifying our nation's resilience. Our policy initiatives should encompass various sectors, including safe development of infrastructure, improved disaster management, poverty abolition, safer spatial land use planning, adherence to building codes, efficient water resource management, sound agriculture practices, and increased afforestation nationwide and including coastal areas. On this occasion, I express our gratitude for the valuable help provided by the international community, civil society, and private philanthropy in bolstering our national response efforts during 2022 flood disaster. The people of Pakistan have a history of philanthropy and generosity in times of crisis, and their response during the earthquake of 2005 and floods 2022 is a vivid example of their benevolence. By the grace of Allah, we have always and continue to fought through all such calamities with the help of our brave Pakistani brethren and sisters. May Allah guide and help us all in building a strong and resilient Pakistan. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We warmly welcome our associated partners, humanitarian assistance organizations, and the people of Pakistan who are represented today to commemorate 8th October as our National Resilience Day. It is not only the testimony to our great sacrifice and resolve after the earthquake of 2005, but it also showcases our capability to survive and withstand number of disasters thereon. We evolved from that stage from 2005, and we are now at the stage where our responses are matured, our capabilities have advanced, and we are relying on our national approach, which is more collective, collaborative, and cooperative in all essence and senses. Today we stand very matured in our responses, these preparedness endeavors which are based on our experience, our knowledge, our archived shared experiences with our partners, and now we are at the stage to predict our future disasters well in advance, which gives us a capability or capacity to not only see in the future that what could happen to Pakistan and how it would transcend into various domains of societies. Now today we are looking at National Emergencies Operations Center driven Pakistan's National Disasters Management Authority's concept of proactive disaster management, which is 2023 onwards, it's a mainstay of Pakistan's national response. Now if you see that then the center of all our preparations, plans and endeavors, the people are centric who are be guarded from number of calamities and our exposures of disasters which range from hydromet to other disasters of all kinds. We need to build this national resilience protective wall around the people, enabling our people to be saved from our disasters and opportunities which are now on a very hyped scale all over the world. Now these global disasters which are hyped at the scale, they are being triggered by some of the dangers and the risks which have added and multiplied in the form of collaborations and the losses, which are poly disasters incoming and then irregular in their tempo. But they also give us a lot of hope, which is also in the term of our capability to predict these disasters well in time. So this technical predictability and our controllable impacts, they offer lots of respite and hope for our national resilience to build on. Our DRR dividends, which is now very mature because we have anticipated most of the disasters well in time. And over the last 2 years, we have practiced this concept of not only collaborating with the provinces in a very supportive mode, we have provided lots of guidance, we have provided lots of plans which are updated and which are usable by not only our provincial partners, our NGOs, our humanitarian partners, but they're also available for everybody to reach through mobile applications, NDMA websites, and then various other academia and non-academia platforms too. In the context, we are looking at these are the two realities which have dawned upon us, that outer space spatial monitoring by satellites and then the sensors, they have given lots of leverages for the technical disaster experts who can predict accurately well in advance and then make their responses more accurately. On the basis of these advantages, we can now build our safety protocols where we are looking at not only saving lots of lives and livestock, but also being able to protect the people from early recovery and then the rehabilitation could be very swift. All this gambit is looking at the end state of Pakistan's socio-economical revival or rehabilitation after a particular disaster has unfolded. Now this would come from two stages, the two end states, which are secure communities, that is by protecting people and lives and livestock, and there's the infrastructure, and then a mechanism of very swift recovery and rehabilitation. We understand that it would start from the process of learning from our experiences in the past, then looking at what all is there for us to learn from our experiences which are hubbed in our academia. Now this academia will give us our capability to not only conduct the audit of our previous experiences, but also give us some platform to showcase our national will and then develop the DRR apparatus which is in line with the global protocols. Now, after we have altered the status quo and we have also incorporated everyone which is part of the national response, we are then in a way capable of forming some recommendations for institutional reforms at federal, provincial and lower levels, and then raise those organizations which are more interoperable with each other. Now, in that context, we are looking at 4 cornerstones of not only the commitment of the funds, but then showing our joint resolve, which is composed of by humanitarian organizations, UN bodies in Pakistan, NGOs, military, and all the divisions of government of Pakistan which are there for help. In the bottom left, you will find the risk communication is the important subject of all proactive disaster management, which will enable the stakeholders to form a very comprehensive and collaborative response. Unfortunately, if it is not done, then non-ready sufferings is an undesirable stage, because this in turn will take us back to the stage 1, where we would like to see that how this conduct of audit and infrastructure or academia review can enable very, very collaborative framework response by Pakistan. I once again thank all those who have formulated part of NDMA's team. Our hearts and thoughts go out to reach those affected of families of not only 2005 disasters, 8th October, but they also reach out to all those who have lost their lives, livestock, infrastructure, properties, relatives, livelihood, or their emotional losses during all the disasters in the history of Pakistan. We stand united, firm, and we commit our resolve not only to take our actions and our plans more robust, more enabled, more informed, then we hopefully in the next disasters, God forbid if it strikes, we are able to not only save lots of lives and livestock, but also provide a template for our regional and collaboration partners to find a solution which can be copied and reproduced elsewhere in the region in Pakistan. Pakistan stands committed to all the global disaster risk reduction protocols. We would like to continue contributing in our recommendations for global stock takes through various international platforms. And in the times we anticipate that Pakistan's recommendation will also be a beacon for not only the developing regions or the states like Pakistan, but they will also provide a lot of inputs for a global review in the face of climate change, which is going on to a very challenging phase by the end of 2030. Thank you very much.
Operations and Logistics, NDMA. In next few minutes, I'll briefly apprise you about the proactive approach of NDMA, how we deal with the hazards. At present, we are in the stage of winter contingencies.
It's a flag.
Before I go, I'll just give you the disaster management structure of the NDMA. The first tier you see on the right side is the provincial level, district level, and the provincial departments. They deal at the grassroots levels, and they are being supervised by the provincial disaster management. At federal level, NDMA comes under Prime Minister Office, and they deal not only the policy formulation but coordination with all the provincial departments, with key ministries, and coordinate the response efforts on ground. Response sequence and coordination mechanism, we have in National Emergency Operations Center, the technical team, they give us the disaster early warning. Basing on their disaster early warning, Operation and Logistics Wing, then they formulate an advisory and share with all provinces, key ministries, our warehouses, all the services headquarters, and all the partners we have for the dealing with the response. Basing on our experience, we have divided complete disaster management calendar into two contingencies. One is the summer and monsoon contingencies, which includes heat phase, glacial melt, drought, landslides, avalanches, local riverine floods, forest fire, monsoon, and droughts. Currently, we are moving towards the winter contingency, and which starts in October. And in winter contingency, we see late rains, urban smoke, fog, snow hazards, medical emergencies, or tourism-related events. We have started our work. The National Emergency Operational Technical Team, they have given us the early forecast of the winter hazards, and we are coordinating a first court conference on 10th of this October. And in November, we will arrange a simulation exercise with all stakeholders. The winter season, it spans over from November to February, but our preparation starts from October, being a proactive approach, and it goes till end March. If we see the technical early warning hazard projection, which we have received from the technical team of our National Emergency Operations Center, it comprehensively gives us the projection of winter hazards, which enhance our early warning system and make us proactive disaster management. And it covers all the regions, especially those regions which are prone to the winter hazards. And this projection is very essential for anticipating cold waves, heavy snowfall, and avalanches. I'll just give you the gist of that early warning we have received, and we are working on it. It covers 4 domains: rainfall, temperature, smoke, and drought. This year, rainfall during the winter, we are expecting below normal rainfall, likely, and it is western and northern regions, especially KP, JP, Gilgit-Baltistan, Balochistan, Punjab, and Azad Jammu and Kashmir. Possibility of slight rain is possible in the south of the country during the month of October. When we move to the January-February 25, below normal rainfall is expected to the west and north of KP, Gilgit-Baltistan, and Balochistan. Coastal area may receive the rainfalls. As far as the temperature is concerned, this year it's likely that it will be higher than the usual. Southern Balochistan, Sindh, Upper KP, Gilgit-Baltistan, they will face above normal temperature during the month of October to December. Temperature will be higher than usual across the country, with maximum over Upper KP and GP, which is likely to drop by minus 19 degrees centigrade to 2 degrees centigrade at the end of the October. During this October month, snowfall is also expected in the northern areas, which will change the temperature from minus 2 to minus 5 degree in November 2024. Sir, next. All right. That the dense fog formation over the plains, particularly the central and southern Punjab, is expected. And these months, the complete fog forecast has been received, and all information has been shared with all stakeholders. Drought is less likely. Next. The important aspect of the response is the pre-coordination of the logistic. We have clearly mentioned the logistic. We calculated the logistic needs and determined the responsibilities. The first and second tiers of logistic responsibility comes under the provincial governments, and NDMA comes at the tier 3 tier 3 respondents. Pre-identified and pre-coordinated logistic has been worked out for the need of the 4 billion people, and provincial government, they keep a stock of 2 million population. NDMA is keeping 500,000 population stock, and if a disaster strikes, then we procure for another 1 million population logistic requirements. Remaining 500,000 is coordinated with our partners. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Brigadier Kamran Ahmed, Member Operations of NDMA, to share us with a brief overview of winter contingencies. Ladies and gentlemen, NITM, National Institute for Disaster Management, is a key think tank of NDMA. It's recognized for its extensive training programs and publication. It continuously conducts research to provide policy recommendations and solutions for disaster management. With this, please help me in welcoming Air Commodore Tanveer Paratha, Executive Director of NITM, to share the achievements of NITM with us.
Can we have a word for us?
Yes. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A very good morning and Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. National Institute of Disaster Management was earlier established in 2010, but under the proactive approach, it was converted into the national think tank. And some of our achievements in this 1.5 years journey is as follows. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, we divided Pakistan which has the highest peaks onto the north, then the plains, desert area, and a vast coastline. And Pakistan has around 262 universities, which we divided the zones. And if you can see the northern zones, which have similar kind of topography, high mountains, and the zones were not only restricted to one particular province, they were multi-provinces. They were connected with the top universities around the world in the north, which have similar kinds of hazards, whether it's in United States, Canada, EU, China. And similar kind of research was conducted, in which today, alhamdulillah, we have received more than 158 top world-class research through which we have adopted global best practices. These are some of our top universities, which include one of the top Ivy League universities of United States, EU, China. Some of the projects can be seen that how the Pakistani universities were incorporated and in collaboration with these international parties has conducted some of the research. So today, with the blessing of Allah, NDMA and IDM has been connected with 423 international universities, more than 28 top think tanks, including RAND Corporation, tech developers, and NDMA equivalents, and also we have partners in private sector. As we have been collaborating, taking part in international seminars. NDMA people were sent across the world to attend these conferences in which the Pakistan case was displayed ambiguously. And some of the technology, the webinars were conducted on different subjects, whether it was innovative technologies, building resilience, carrying out anticipatory actions. Some of another great initiatives is the Belt and Road Initiative, in which NIDM was connected through different Chinese universities, Academy of Sciences. There are more than 22 satellite feeds of 0.8 meter resolution, which direct feed is being received by the NAOC. There were multiple sensors, early warning systems, which is across deployed Pakistan through Pakistan Met Department, which will have ground-based sensor. Not only that, there's a joint project in which a high-tech joint research laboratory on Pakistan climate change is being developed with the Chinese Academy of Sciences in Quaid-e-Azam University. Similarly, there are 5 top engineering universities in which laboratories are being developed with the help of NDMA and IDM proactive approach. Some of our regional universities have been also contributing a lot, and we were able to, sign MOUs, carry out different research and formulation of syndicates. These syndicates not only provided us valuable information whenever the NDMA tech team forecasted that there are certain hazards, whether it is summer contingencies, winter contingencies. This is the pool of human resource within NDMA, within the academia, and the best experts across Pakistan and international. So we formulated these groups and carry out on-spot research. People, students, universities went to these glaciers, monitor, carried out. NDMA teams were also sent to these glaciers, carried out assessment physically, not only through satellite. So similarly, when the heat wave, our NDMA tech team projected and operations, we synergized the academia all across Pakistan, which districts where there were this heat wave likely to come up. Heat stroke centers were established in different universities. There were workshops. DRR societies were made active so as to their university FM channel, social media platform. The message was sent all across so as to have minimum losses. And alhamdulillah, with NDMA proactive approach, this year there was not a single loss of life due to heat wave. Similarly, when we were heading towards the monsoon season, our tech team spotted out the hot spots where there can be likely flooding, and NDMA and IDM proactive approach. Experts were putting together, and certain kinds of drives, door-to-door practices were made. We also carried out simulation exercises here in NAOC and also carried out physical exercises with Rescue 112 to Punjab, Cape Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan, and conducted these exercises so as to make sure that the government machinery remains active and they are proactively well trained. Similarly, our humanitarian partners, international NGOs and NGOs were made part of these sessions. Similarly, Water Syndicate at Pakistan will be heading towards a water scarcity country. Top class research has been conducted within Pakistan and outside Pakistan so as to how to cater for this kind of, and you can see some of the top people which are member of these syndicates. Similarly, SMOC is a winter contingency, and we have been collaborating with some of the top universities of China, in which Beijing, ladies and gentlemen, were facing this smog disaster, and they have taken certain steps, and with Punjab government, PDMA Punjab and the provincial government, certain actions are being implemented, and you will see some of the proactive approach which the NDMA has recommended. They will be formulated in this coming winters. Certain steps has been already implemented. Not only that, our DRS society is a great success. Alhamdulillah, we have a volunteer force of thousands of people all across Pakistan. So total of 4 million people have been registered in these DRS societies, and these are mostly young students from more than 250 universities of Pakistan. So whenever there is a disaster, these DRS societies will be going and helping the district administration, setting up camps and helping the people to fight these resolve. So this is a great achievement of NDMA. So some of the conferences and seminars have been, there were a number of seminars at NDMA here in Islamabad and all across Pakistan in our provincial capitals, where NIDM and NDMA people were going and telling the story of success, how we have, in this short period of 1.5 years, our young blood sitting on these back chairs have put on hard work, whether it is tech team or it is operation, NIDM, DRR, international relations, media, as a group of people in a synergetic approach has worked together and make sure that the losses, whether it is human losses or financial losses, can be reduced. As ladies and gentlemen, also you can see that as a proactive approach, this state-of-art center was also introduced with internship program, and top students of Pakistan from top universities were inducted here for 8 weeks internship program, and these are the potential new brains which come up with ideas. So these youngsters have bring new portals were made, new innovative ideas were put in, so there were a lot of good results, and you can see some of the research and areas where they've been interacting with us. Similarly, NIDM as a traditional role has been carrying out different trainings all across Pakistan, and today, alhamdulillah, we have completed many thousands of people. We can say around 13,000 government officials have been trained, and you can see that this is the distribution in which this is a trained 12,000 human resource which can be employed anytime, anywhere there is a disaster coming in Pakistan. So these people are being well trained, exercised, and they can handle these disasters. So these are some of the glimpses around capacity building workshops. There were more than 31 capacity building workshops there were, and also they were chained with the coming season. So when the summers were approaching, pre-hand we were going to those districts which were likely to face these disasters, conduct these seminars, trainings and capacity building workshops. Not only that, as per the Prime Minister's directive, human resource from this NDMA and our Professional Disaster Management Authority all across Pakistan was sent. There were more than 30 people who went to China and carried out different training workshops. There were 30 people who went to Thailand, and these people were trained with the best experts and were exposed to how the different countries' disasters had been managed. Similarly, these are some of the glimpses of our capacity simulation exercises being conducted by NDMA all across Pakistan and the provincial and at the federal level. Some of the books which are available and some of the work has been recently completed. We've been showcasing like forest fires, data, similar urban resilience against urban flooding. This is a new challenge which has been faced within our mega cities. Thank you very much, and a very proactive portal has been made in which every data, all kind of research, experts, what kind of hazards, different kind of projects, trainings are being conducted. So this data will be available online too. Thank you very much for a patient hearing, and we pledge on this day that we all together will make Pakistan more resilient so that there can be less losses. As the coming years we foresee with the climate change, more disasters are coming. We have to change and train our children and future generation. Thank you very much.
Kamal Ahmed, consulting for NDMA as Climate and Finance Risk Advisor. Those of you who might have received the agenda, the earlier version of it, you might have seen that we had 2 plenary sessions planned for the original event. The first plenary was supposed to discuss the COP29 and Pakistan's way forward for what we are going to do. The second plenary that was mainly focusing on converging gender equity and microfinance for financial resilience of Pakistan. Unfortunately, however, we had to slightly modify the event because of the looming security situations and because of the fact that many delegates weren't able to join us physically in Pakistan and in Islamabad as well. So what we did was we merged the 2 plenaries. We will not have a moderated discussion, which is a pity, but that's what we could do with the available resources and available time of the experts. So what we did instead, we have pre-recorded messages of the key panelists that we chose. We invited them to share their pre-recorded messages against the questions that we had sent them. We'll share with you the glimpse of the questions as we walk you through what the key messages were received. And for this panel, which is going to focus on climate finance for national resilience of Pakistan, we have a very distinguished, call it a panel or call it a background set of panelists. We have the Assistant Secretary General, Mr. Kamal Kishore, who is also the head of UNDRR. We have the CEO of Sehat Sahulat Program, Mr. Muhammad Arshad. We have Ms. Tuga Alaskari from the United Nations Development Program's Insurance and Risk Finance Facility. She's the global lead. As well as we have from the private sector, Mr. Waqas Mohsin, who is the Bio-Waste Energy Ventures Limited. So we have quite a diverse range covering the government, covering the UN, covering the development sector, as well as the private sector, to make sure that we have a very representative set of speakers in this limited span of time. And we'll move to the first panelist. Like I mentioned, we have a message from Mr. Kamal Kishore, who is the Assistant Secretary General, Special Representative to the Secretary General on DRR, as well as the head of United Nations Office for DRR. And we had sent him a couple of questions, and the questions that we asked Mr. Kamal Kishore focused on Pakistan's financial situation, the scarce resources that we have, the capital staff situation, and we asked his advice what specific policy measure he could recommend to us as the head of UNDRR, particularly with reference to disaster preparedness and financial recovery. We also asked him how institutions like UNDRR and other agencies could help Pakistan access innovative financial tools on risk transfer and climate finance to enhance disaster risk resilience while dealing with capital constraints. And we have Mr. Kishore's response like this.
Dear friends, I am very happy to participate in this event, which is virtually. With this message, I wish I could greet you in person. I'm very grateful to the NDMA Pakistan as well as Institute for Economic Resilience for inviting me to share my thoughts with you at this event. I think the first resilience stand on related to disaster risk management and looking at Pakistan. Ethiopia is a very good topic in the development. It helps at a very good timing. The idea in the US that involve the earthquake getting stuck on the European work forward. As a I was sitting at a reporter's institute work with alongside Pakistani colleagues in the aftermath of the earthquake and having formulated recovery and reconstruction strategies. So first that I could be somebody to participate in this event. The public event on how to ensure economic miseries from disaster lists. It's really important that they recognize that the risk frequency and the intensity of disasters is such that they give guidance not just the limit, but we work out the fast reaching consequences or the economic development or the material or sustainability because I've been teams in a bad checkpoint. Last year, the Coalition for Disaster Reliability started a global report on disaster risk to reconstructive systems across the world, and it estimated that expected annual average loss from disasters to reconstructive sectors to the tune of $700 billion a year. That's really enormous. If we have that high between the liability of global systems, then it is going to be encouraging because GDP of backward innovation startups. It's really therefore important that we look at how do we be able to deal with a disaster as an advance economic consequences. In that context, the first thing I would say is that, at least at our world, whether they are global north or global south, really needs to have a system of predictable system of financing all aspects of disaster management, whether it is disaster risk reduction, whether it is disaster preparedness with early warning systems, or the region response, or the reconstruction. A full spectrum arrangement for financing disaster risk management. And in that context, it is really important that we begin to invest in disaster risk reduction instead. First of all, it is really important that whatever the companies investment has been making are informed by this situation so that in the name of development, we're not being able to use disaster risk. And secondly, where we disaster risk is in our development, we take proactive steps to reduce those risks. And it would with the financing of all disaster risk reduction that all potential scopes of finance. National budget should be national budget by other small allocation unitary for disaster investment At the same time, although we data primary finance, for example, the Green Islamic Fund right now is allocating resources for early warning systems, lending early warning systems, for the government. Maybe as it is how we happen to that. Similarly, private finance, we did the disasters affected productively better than assets in governments because there's how long we can kind of private finance disaster risk affected. How can we come up with innovative risk mechanisms? And after fairness and so levels and substantive level at the level of enterprise at the level of policies, we cover more areas. This is highlighted here, the complaining here, but that is such a big part of knowledge now, was stepping in role and deployments in the big parties. And finally, how will we make the most of the forces that the rest in the radio by Canadians as that in the words. And I think that's the so our spectrum solution in terms of all sources of financing, addressing the spectrum of all that's unnecessary. I think in the guidance about how we actively look at this thinking in a comprehensive fashion. If we did that, I'm sure the challenge that are facing today, they're difficult, but they are not made some of good challenges. And particularly in one mix to one kind of side, the resilience of Pakistani people, the resolve of Pakistani people, the resolve to this liking. We saw that we are about the guys I thought the by West Wing reporting saw that, then we are go back to postatitis. So I think that mobilizing the community is a solution. Thank you very much, and I hope I can remember have watched the day to discuss the issues with you. It will be really that continuation. Thank you. Get back to it.
That was a wonderful and very comprehensive analysis of what the situation is and the question that we had posed to Mr. Kishore. And I'll give you a quick, brief summary of what Mr. Kishore highlighted. He talked about the increasing frequencies and intensity of disasters, which has enormous impact on not only on sustainable development, but also on the economic growth. And also referring to the global average annual losses, which is to the tune of $700 billion. And mind you, in Pakistan, the same average annual loss against flood runs up to $1.5 billion. Now compare this against the budgetary allocation that we have for DRR, it's a huge funding gap, which leads us to the next point. Where do we bring the investments? The investments have to be mobilized through innovative climate and risk financing instruments, which also was highlighted by Mr. Kishore, that we can not only rely on budget line, no matter how small they are, and we have good budget line allocation, not as good as the requirement are, but decent enough to start somewhere. And the next phase of this is to cover the funding gap, the need for mobilization of climate finance, which leads me to our next panelist. And excuse my oversight where I failed to acknowledge the presence of of His Excellency Mr. Fazal Farhadov, who is the ambassador of the Republic of Azerbaijan. And I believe everyone knows that this year's COP29 presidency lies with the Republic of Azerbaijan, and we asked him how Republic of Azerbaijan plans to conduct the COP29, and his response to the question was,
established its website climate change. I want visit the culture of Azerbaijan from point activities, have their new upstairs regions, or the role is caustic, what's not industry, but it is. The strong depends on others and the creation of modern challenges that have been virtually my passion from all them. Languishing to global chapters that are putting new generation in voice. Wise of gold temperatures and big like was probably in the decades. Life changes but hardships. Sweet evening to the dimension. Easier, road of weapon because there was a boat, not in slowing quality view. Are the most double levered ancient city. Climate change impacts all only waters and divination. Hospital living is life. Population number message is that the common gratitude and transcend the political differences and start really being to the being. Average population is spread and rising, despite the small quality that ever. To the elite jobs creates the rights and final answer no less than this. The conflicts increase greenhouse gas emissions that prevents being wild posting water for him. The investigation frequency series that produce of equipment, also climate action, and the marijuana and positive shift of pipeline. So I'm going to become a tools for what's being done. In the fact that why did that direction? They will. We pull up their local council, which that wants to be covered 25. Yet to come through to show as a civil power or natural dialogue that is ignorant of a secret or prosperity scientific principle. All by relevant liabilities and climate action, we can ensure private or future generations. Other than the system suffers from the whole and operation. Other than making its territories to a competition of those covered, showing the best Prime Minister's territory and federal over to technique wildlife as the operation. I mean, restriction causes the power for the areas business habitats and species. That is very by also. And as you know, as a result of children also being involved with unitarians, all countries, where a settlement further supporting the governments of them emerged to be adjusted to China's policies. Going with force for good individuals who is requested and mobilizing the international community make progress on both learning board. Climate awareness was added in the end of public negotiations at COVID-19, while this all partners and the standard expectations and everyone reflected identities, being able successful the camera leader, a clean innovation. got plenty of other Thursdays. So what we today, why don't you? But with Marvel Witchen, by my instructions, the 12 hours, 6 fire, shirts, and muscling, and the shell out 3 but no like the 12 hours. We were about to possibly. We need to provide a service in us to really come to guidance. The data is great way to the effective orders. We plan on posted action to make sure that protected fat and this will also be a channel with strong climate adaptation was of the best maybe critical problems also in climate change. As for the region, we will recommend program business team secretly the ambassador in terms of promotion of the which they had in White House. We are now primitive to all and inclusive sources, but they give us with the almost echoing. All the sweaters that go over the IP, follow the bakery as of the rock identity it is taken by biologies of the cruise product. Follow up as always which so everyone is a wide lucky praise. To succeed in training, to wish we know every among our made every country and every ability. Not change as the future possibilities. To strengthen all of us to much hours later. For the one conclusive volume when everyone is going well. And they placed inclusive public observation in failure, shared to the people. As I was experienced to that including all the age people buses. Most critical to it is aggressive technique on the line but it was a difference which should everyone's forces of regarded that they were interested in represent and the culture and our business as people who voted initiatives governing proper as a legally treated climate action and sustained the model. Doing it and the government and it explored power of what was like in the cities. I get constantly my and tell Dutch from one of the buses. But it's killing. I know. Addition, one of the wishes to move the establishment of the Garber Turbine Station. As a good on post my example has been up to climate action because of farming of aviation advances. As I was a spending AEO, one of the keys I hope. Senator Kazan was a weekly American part of the as they used to back down the first of the climate action to initiate the priority. Today, as a rates of life, we need a suspicion. Interest is a yaply fires. My projects, one of the couple were available slots to get up with him this country, millimeter everything. Rather than like these segments with the number Jews, that's what outcomes of Europe. Between net zero machine source like that doesn't by 2020, the share of really was. The stock can as a recent generation as a vegetable. You need to know the picture. I can, I would like now, make sure you never wrote to the banner when the bottom of the last and the fossil water with Thomas Maris is the old Kenny. What do you blow over Mr. Old from the color of the Pakistan in folk making is as a proper global world. For a sort of belief to be a principle which had the necessity of the challenges and senior what or chisel, both was all relationship. Then they do so as being
Ladies and gentlemen, this year's COP is going to focus mainly on energy transitions from non-renewable to renewable sources. So that's going to be the major focus. And Azerbaijan, the Republic of Azerbaijan, planning more than a dozen initiatives, has one of the initiatives called Climate Finance Action Fund, which is called the CFAF. One of the aims of this COP29 for Azerbaijan is to have $1 billion commitment and pledges received. And with loss and damage fund looming around for the last couple of years, has not been able to secure $750 million pledges. And with finally having its first executive director, Mr. Jorge Araya from Chile, a Chilean diplomat and a climate negotiator famous around the world, the hope for this COP29 is that loss and damage fund will get operational. So we asked His Excellency Mr. Farhadov, in this context, how Azerbaijan plans to make sure that the CFAF, the Climate Finance Action Fund, is able to receive the pledges worth $1 billion. And what Azerbaijan plans to make sure that the fund remains as active as possible instead of becoming another slowly progressing fund. We also asked Mr. Farhadov, His Excellency Ambassador of Azerbaijan, what possible opportunities do exist between Azerbaijan and Pakistan for potential collaboration, not only in climate action, but also on the mobilization of international and domestic climate finance. And to this, his response was,
go back. He said, there's England one good, but keep on. And Steve was very close-rich about that. Climate follow and should have always never to be a meeting. Process the works of what you need. And pilots, like all things, you know you can contests that to me some people pretty used to the on what while there were living in the weeks. At the end of this, could significantly maintain disasters. And if the falls away, the Tesla poverty and balancing this was creation, adaptation in the soil, and the other when we maintain additional species systems. The issues in the lives with the India bit 41 years ago, we copy low split, is that any violence? I should let them figure the following and the following cool initiative. In going to battle and legislatively, constantly came heavy. We are ready. We'll let Pakistan keep it as a approach. Also, the Hazırlarında Pakistan anları burada bırakıyoruz. So we're anything for the player for the people and those only and international organizations. They don't know we all have support, which are the only one years. Don't be a positive keeping these love of getting gold folks. Also said we should have many back on that is the crossing and hostels, cooks, and then the concert second. Integration, adaptation, resources for adoption, and effective agreement, improvement in integration, student level leaders, level wishes, and scientifically developed way, articulated for class. And how something we cover would be more in a concept. This issue of a disaster also in climate change. And in this about climate change and activity, we should be on the organization for the situations such as the protection of ambition, disasters, prevention, ocean, and the individual created constituents, boxing, security, waterways, security swallow this, but it was strictly said the NASA and all-team final groups, city, Australia, and the quarter of the bank. Regulation, state, Nigeria with the results, medicine, population. Supervision, investigation, protection and standards for the CPS, optics, man, disclosures, gives you recurses. Although, and of others. Thank you.
That was His Excellency Mr. Khazar Farhadov, Ambassador of the Republic of Azerbaijan to Pakistan, and he responded to the question that we talked about, the Climate Finance Action Fund. And those of you who have been part of climate negotiations in COPs must see that this is going to be one of the most interesting negotiations happening this year. Whether Azerbaijan succeeds to hit the $1 billion figure, we'll see that, and we'll know only by the end of November 2024, because we just had the replenishment 2 for GCF last year, where we were able to have the pledges $13.2 billion, and we still haven't made the $750 million pledges for loss and damage fund. So it's going to be an interesting negotiation this session. About the climate finance mobilization, wherever we place it, whichever funds it goes, GCF, GEF, CFAF, loss and damage, whichever fund it goes to, the most important part is it is able to increase resilience at the ground level. It is able to reduce the vulnerability of the communities, which leads us to the next panelist, which is Mr. Muhammad Arshad, the CEO of Sehat Sahulat Program, Ministry of Health, Government of Pakistan. And we did ask him a very basic question. How is Sehat Sahulat Program helping build a resilient Pakistan?
Mr. Lakshman, thank you. My ears being quite open to the center around me. So I would love to hear the highest Tunisia similar product with Australia regards status sustainable programs. So they stay in the country that provide ways for the abundance of these. From music of the other with social application against extractivity. Pakistan and the North and the Zaire Pakistan. Without the center of the solid program as in the nation provide the education of any citizen of Pakistan. It is practically take sharing this income levels to distribute given rates, read humanity. But this is not Pakistan nation, Pakistan city balance are sleeping every other person. But it is so high. Tomorrow, with what offers something else, I can pull out. They see by see the block shop becoming the 12 the big government, any one government, rather help times, and we had education. This is how this program needs to be representatives of Pakistan.
We also asked Mr. Arshad how inclusive the Sehat Sahulat program and whether the women-led household are able to access it, are equally are entitled to have this facility from Sehat Sahulat program, and whether they face any barriers due to socio-economic conditions, particularly for vulnerable populations affected by climate change. And we also asked about whether Sehat Sahulat program has positively impacted women's health outcomes in the context of climate resilience, to which his response was,
as far as social is concerned, take a lot of the devil, the same cost services, the social services, who love the woman, or the leadership, service that prepared. This is the whole thing to cover in the other measure in Pakistan, where the women are maintained. See the import on both purposes that end. This is why I don't know my dear simple scene divide us up in Sydney or many of the simple system bar. They will go language the world. They've cut it under the plate and amazing the sun. They get it elected to the woman. And the thing fit far with the man. Few years of the past. And then I thought, granted to meet with them. Access for any certain place they did me or Sharing Tiger would be got the set of addiction. And if I put to cover but shouting, they did it. All of the daily examiners specifically to us the son of a jump. Coverage of Google that the body say. You said out on he said out on the compulse, sorry, what about a good wish then? To his outcome job. Both city paper do, company started with them, but I could actually. Sitting TDE, tolerable, like that, and doing unplaces and government as good as like this. Though my main part maybe I think had not done it, and they think get high just as it is one to what the little bit of so good, but they get a key on that couple, some kind of those of people, the Alpha special is a part of Jaga just not the rubber was clear that they will have a stone. Which pregnancies or service code, right, and be a bunch of a real we the patients in the woman is strong, child diagram, nothing about it will be how much of the English and the skill that what we import the truth and no such a bit. What the summer of not I told you, better here, one of us, you 7 hours shot.
And finally, we also picked his brain on how he envisioned a collaboration between health and microfinance sector, mainly to enhance the overall well-being of women in disaster-prone regions in Pakistan. And his response was as recorded.
relationships with Elizabeth Spanzai, given the 5% begin to go on hospital. Talking about it, managed to park on. Yeah, and I may say that you wonder if somebody to be living in a country, and you will go to give it to the stock of services around the ideas that summer. You will buy a social to the game, and you will train SARS. To continue the attack is also influence of you. And half that this is sad case of happens to shut up. Partnership that was what 80 all contracts of nurses. Is something serious like this. It doesn't what your assessment. But now is I'm seeing some picture of the chop up of the bush cut out and last at least if I do this station for second through the property by the executive struggling into us of my cabin I took habit from other pleasure not going to be equipment and the institute got that and the private shops of Shanghai which it was still cap actually was separate having a relationship. It's a fun and to walk out.
Brilliant. So by far we have established by far now that there is no resilience without inclusiveness. It has to be all inclusive. We have to include gender consideration. We have to make sure that we have an all-inclusive financial management of climate and disaster risk, which takes care of all the vulnerable populations. And we have also established so far, from listening to all the experts, that the conventional resources are not sufficient enough to help us reach where we want to reach, which means we have to bring in the private sector. And we have one representative with us, Mr. Waqas Mohsin, who is the CEO of the Bio-Waste Energy Ventures Limited, which is one of the biggest projects in Karachi that converts the solid waste to energy. And we have to make sure that we do understand what is the role of private sector. Particularly if we want to innovate, we want to go into carbon credits, we want to make sure that we are able to generate additional resources from innovative solutions. And this, Mr. Waqas Mohsin, we asked him what the role of Bio-Waste Energy Ventures was in achieving the net zero. Net zero for Pakistan, you might be able to understand, or you might know already, that by 2050, the government of Pakistan, as a signatory to the Paris Climate Agreement, has said that we are going to reduce 50% of our carbon footprint. This cannot be done alone by NDMA, this cannot be done alone by Ministry of Climate Change, this cannot be done alone by ABC. It has to be an all-inclusive, a joint team effort. And for this we asked Mr. Waqas what was the role of his project, which was the Karachi Green Project, in achieving net zero for Pakistan. And we also asked him how can green energy, projects like Bioenergy Ventures, play a role in mobilizing affordable international climate finance, particularly for scaling up resilience initiative. Let's see his response.
The thickness of playing the providing back it's like this big problem. In fact, it should be. That's it's a shock. You get it long it's not just like the fact but to see the big Pakistan. Although I don't know why even just said that he had a bit better one is being sent in there. The if many people thoughts the parties were out of speed and we more on the point with these things between the little like one piece but it's in the is a way he had to do that what the local shops taking on up to the job she thought but the speed and rich the soft but 80 times were so what we want that's what is those things we can say they the problem and he said that they're training of others that they're training in Pakistan. And we give the like pretty important to what was said in Chief Pakistan in Chile. Say that one Hindi to the city. As well as more It's on the patient saving all of them. And the most of the be fine.
and eventually the amount of windows 1% of the what is being and that level of advantage to the purpose of this over. But now I'm worried. What is this? Other than the fact that basically I'm going to we need to have done and one sticky but from a broad moment was being in that time. But I just curious. He's intelligent and thinks to very little that about the fast and the advice. Thinks of that. Trees. He has an overly and a cunning disease. Barbie environment to really bombs. We have any fight standing in the beginning. We have adults all points to make the he might actually think things to do with the thing to do. Given the essence of dollars, and I'm going to have a feel of as to the good cooperation, taking good up with the right to our dollars, perfect, this with opportunity we need to the states. And then the barbarics, right here, at the Nazis, how the citizen Pakistan, the Bible says. Over we have the Pakistan, what double, big right acid dollars. We certified regular art developments for all the other thing has figured with equation of the state that would be the severity and the fact that the Russian spots of any. Have you done a lot of reality? But also the one political but even the right and the light left in the same line under the oven with so this could connect further there remain we like now in July into the record.
And it obviously research.
You are in the eyes, keep top up with like in the one on it. You all look at the right sheet that the technical environment releases by this. So I'm going to be in the spike all the the need of it, he was very fine for the black spots. Just bad enough that I'm so many projects and my intention is to jump all around. That is ability in the confidence, and the thing that is one walk about how to actually eating that unit was, but make that anything walk.
Thank you. That was Mr. Waqas Mohsin, CEO of the Bio-Waste Energy Ventures Limited. Utilizing this opportunity and having the liberty of having the dice, I would invite everyone, those who are interested in climate change mitigation, to reach out to partners like this who could provide part of the blended finance to mobilize additional international climate finance. And that leads us to the last panelist that we have, Ms. Tuga Alaskari. She's the global lead on insurance and risk finance from UNDP's IRFF. We asked Ms. Tuga, how was UNDP's insurance and risk finance facility approach working on gender equity in its programs and initiative? And we also asked her what role could insurance play in supporting women's resilience against climate-related risks in Pakistan, and whether there were any successful examples from other regions where insurance mechanisms had effectively supported women in climate resilience efforts. And her response to the questions was as recorded.
My previous focus on promoting climate disaster by land insurance as confidence the movement in the Jesuit process of dating the development. We eventually be able to get part of the basic education. However, at the same time, there is memorable evidence that climate and speed over environment favorably, whereas the macro objective techniques that for men and other words utilizing are or and also the intervention that is designed to support ways that the training is kind of to know that this is supporting this. I would encourage you to read and I would go to my point and I'll talk about the climate adaptation abilities have the potential to cover by straightway genital agnostic migration. No climate change to goes down the everything. But the very question is that means combined with adaptation and engaging
the bill, the new trend and the document that I personally say it has the position that if implementing the plan, then to bring that change in its indeed reform. So essentially, as we put it together, another relationship, it's very difficult to be correct to ensure that we kind of start the gender integration with racism, then also have the instance that are able to pilot them with and kind of members would take every consideration. I had said to go with the league of it as a social analyst. And here in the beginning, we all evaluate the organization in the past. Gender as your woman. But we didn't at the same bit that I've been and sure it's very fun for these guys. We understood to be sure he was hiring and rates the child. There are unique ways of the way that one is children to stuff like and how to use a drink. So we undertook the burden of our entire project and later he worked with the gender this trend was about the design. It's definitely that it'll go in my eyes every better that we are using. There are one of the things that the commission's is that a critical part of what when we start treat that start like we just handle listening and project based structure and like after that then take come out of point. We have to hold it in decided by it comes to what the bit time to get expected by Steve so that the idea that the generations right the differential invasion that great changes is of different sensitive and then you can be way on natural sources trading and most of the breeding and by its changing way for different. Imagine them and kind of what they think about it is science to the perfect mind. But they're kind of conflict with the tissue environment or that. So we structured our program site in this way. And in addition to that, I agree by the perhaps the middle. Sandry tongue, straight songs, and some in transaction, sharing relationship. It's oriented wider and representing the level of agreements. The middle combined another the effective careers, sex activity, particular state by our education program, which is sure with getting back to application for the benefit, we have to do so every application. Collaborative connections to ensure the benefit goes by to engage with others should have been connecting this thing. It's way quicker to turn out the powers that you say similar. It is a collaborative, so we can try to each other out. And also the current to be the totally what I think that there's brave the better defined for taking in a typical review to be capable of this but often told. There are also some photos at the front as a people for a quiz so there are very wide areas to get patients over the list they have. They see the need to with the innovation that was said to think it is the science of women with the entrepreneurs people with this hosts. And with the nature of the back in the Thailand did dedicated his children in Kaitway for a life the chicken. The biggest situation channel for very all of it. They were very good conversation. We all just took the ball with that financial adventure. And so we each, but we both tried how to engage any to the way that is the weekly challenge. We just didn't we have trigger if you got research to manage the area of Asia. And we didn't do the ground and the agent in constantly not about that. From the decision to be the design to the decision that have been to be and see if the traditional shadows, each of the shifting. One of the objections is the ask for the team showing a little bit tracking you, and then allow it inherently taking on customer effectively. I agree with them that I think we can look at what is the feeling we already passed after this issue, and I really need to give away.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to close now the panelists inside with a few key points and reiterating the fact that sovereign governments everywhere around the world are overwhelmed by the increasing frequency and increasing intensity of disasters related to climate change and other natural phenomena. The financial resources conventionally available are limited. The funding gap analysis says that the funding gap is enormous. So we need to innovate. We need to innovate by bringing in new partners. What's the way forward? More public-private partnerships. How do we do it? We can go to carbon markets, we can go to risk transfer and insurance instruments, and that cannot be done alone by one agency, one institution in silos. It has to be a collaborative effort, a team effort. With this, I'd like to hand over the floor to my colleague, Ms. Zohra. It has been an absolute pleasure to be your host for this part of the event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tamal, for asking very comprehensive questions from the panelists. And thank you to all participants for meticulously listening to all video messages. And I hope that this will help us and stakeholders in formulating policy recommendations. Ladies and gentlemen, our media team has prepared short documentaries for us today, followed by a mobile app video as well. We will be playing it out of both sides of our screens. Let's look over that one.
Last time, la cara the language in my colleague, the Janus is what are doing the parts in which also working alarms by one on the side of the ship. If they should be just a moon of light, and the gun got a better. See, there are like star in myself and you to her is an energy that cover. Far, 10 minutes, another evil by light being got out of the end. She'll make a test of one of it's here, and so that there's a part of us set out. Lens slightly, she didn't work God. Maybe if you're not in the music, I'll have a so they get that way to multi time about it without this would be a sucker. But you lost the lead of opposite cut out her. And I only need to get it. I'm unused to after school, but we're too late. What did I found out? Was in Jahan. I'll be inquire and you can call these are another and struggle. This example results coming before the sun. That high is all that for the partners and what probably contribution because I'm the version. Yet executive call. What they got Canada the team of bunch of now that by that catch you for an age accompanying it about the dictionary and this is now I think we get a punished job and anything I did it was all about this but there's sincerely right how should get that they don't defend and they play down as etc. about take it on so they're in there but then the internet but it's something that
is
the fourth and scary.
And it's giving the mark. It's like very fishing kitchen. You don't know like delicate food, but I can build it. You will sell it in the community and other someone can feel it too. Yep. Undeveloped with others. There's upstairs the walls going out for so when you don't see wow, and Tim. Related. I have to store the process. What's going to do something? I all the way thought my life. The deal that we said that this is a button we gave you out of the big thing. All of the more about it's really the and one and no luck. It's so good. And we're in what the all the figure in the red. The truth. That even if you clear your needs and who are the others. There was no world of video. All the understand to be good and places. And your house ups and downs. Put the side of the cup. It's just like I know. It's so good. You left the ground. Well, thanks. In back it we go down back to the side.
Thank you so much, Wikipedia, for creating the documentaries. We are almost going to conclude this event. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for being here and making this event a big success, especially to our humanitarians, condoleezza, NGOs, INGOs, community development partners, participants, organizers, and each and every one of you for your presence. With this, I would like to invite Chief of Staff at DMA for closing remarks. Sir, please.
बस मैं कर लेती हूँ टाइप से लगा Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, distinguished guests. Thank you very much for your presence and participation here. On behalf of Chairman NDMA, I would like to extend your thanks. The people from all walks of life, the academia, the media, the local media, the international media, and the various NGOs and the government departments and other organizations have participated. Thank you very much. And since Chairman had to just leave for a meet with the Prime Minister, on his behalf, I would just add that Pakistan has come up a long way. This commemoration of this day is to remind us all that what all we have suffered and what all things which we have to align. And from a reactive to a proactive, it is a very short word to say, but on ground its implementation you can see here in NEOC, the way the government of Pakistan and its the element on ground, the NDMA is how it's going to, it is working on ground, and it is collaborating with various agencies, the government agencies, the international organization, and especially the UN, how we are moving forward. And inshallah ta'ala, we hope and pray that this, if something goes wrong, if something goes south in the future, we would be better prepared and we would work in the whole of the nation approach. Thank you very much, and please join us for a cup of tea.